Alright. If you do, let me know. Alright, so welcome on board the Heineken shuttle. It's going to take you to the Heineken brand store where you can use a little white token for a present. But that's not what we're here for. We're here for the boat ride, which is a lot more fun. And I'm going to tell you some stuff about Amsterdam. I'll try to speak slowly so everyone can understand. If you have any questions, then please ask, okay? So the first thing, on your left hand over there, you see the house, the pretty house there. And that's the house that used to be owned by Gerald Adrian Heineken, who was one of the big, who's the sun in my eyes there. Hold on. Bijleweg, which is one of the big patrons of the Heineken family. And he built that house to be able to look over his company, because the Heineken brewery used to be a lot bigger than it is now. Now it only takes up this block over here, but it used to go a lot further down the street. So he built his house right there so he could take a look over all his employees and over everything that was going on, to keep an eye on it. And the construction finished in 1890, and sadly enough he died 3 years later in 1893. So he only got to live there for 3 years, but that was the headquarters of Heineken. So all the big bosses have their office over there in that house. Now the canal where we're on now used to be very, very important for the Heineken factory, because this was the supply route for all the barley and the hops coming in. So there were boats coming from there and bringing the supplies to the brewery. And in the winter time, it used to be a lot colder here in Amsterdam. So the canals used to freeze. They still do sometimes, but not much. But before, it always froze every winter. So what they did is they used the ice. They cut it out of the river, and they used it to cool down the beer. So both in summer and in winter, this canal was very, very important for the brewery. So it was well situated. Well, the good thing about the canals and about taking a boat ride on them is that you can look into the houseboats, which you can't really see from the city. And here, you can look into them, and you can see some of them are quite shabby, right? They don't really look like they're very nice. But these houseboats are actually very expensive. To own a houseboat costs about 400,000 euros. So that's a lot of money. And most of this money goes to the place. Because of course the one canal is more popular than the other one. And it's very important to acquire one of these places because everybody wants a houseboat and there's not many places, so the price goes up. So it's quite an expensive house. So what do you guys think happens to the sewage with the canal boats? What happens to their waste? Anybody know? It goes straight into the canal. So I advise you not to take a dive in these canals because they're quite dirty. But they do get new water about 5 times a day, is that it? 4 times a week, well, not that many times, 4 times a week. So then new water comes out from the fresh water and all the dirty water goes off to sea. But of course Amsterdam's trying to do something about it, which proves to be quite difficult. Right now 30% is attached to the Amsterdam sewage system, and we're trying to make that 100% over the next 2 years. So they're working on it. So next time you can come to Amsterdam, you can take a dive in the canals and you'll be fine. But this is one of the many canals in Amsterdam. But this is the most pretty ones are the Herengracht, the Keizersgracht and the Prinsengracht. You can walk around them, they're very, very nice. And these all come from the Golden Age. And the Golden Age in Holland was the 17th century, when Amsterdam was the biggest trading city of the world. It was doing really, really well. And those times are past, which is a pity. But that's where we get all those really nice buildings from. And really the city center all comes from that period. And right now Amsterdam is still the 25th harbor of the world. Rotterdam is the first, together with Singapore, and Amsterdam is the 25th. So still considerable harbor for such a small city town. But not as big as it used to be, and not as important as it used to be. And there on your left hand, you see that really ugly, or sorry, shouldn't judge for you, but it's a quite ugly building. Right over there, you see it. It sort of mismatches in all the rest. And this is the Dutch National Bank. So this is where the Dutch monetary policy is set out. And I don't know why they decided to build this monster, but what it did is it used to store all the gold. So all the Dutch gold used to be stored over there. Now most of it is in the United States, in Fort Knox. God knows why, but that's where it's kept. So it sort of lost its function, but it still serves as an office building. So have you guys seen the Amsterdam flag? Does anyone know what that looks like? You see it everywhere in town. It's red and then black, red, and it has 3 white crosses in the middle. You know what I'm talking about? You can also recognize these crosses, everything that has to do with Amsterdam. You know Ajax? Ajax, yeah? They just are the national champion. They have the red, white crosses on them on their shirts. And also the little poles. You see them in Amsterdam. You have lots of poles about waist height, and they're called Amsterdammertjes because they're so famous for, they're so typical for Amsterdam. Also has the crosses. So these are really important for the city. And what they mean is they're symbolic for the 3 dangers that Amsterdam used to face. Of course, as you probably know, Holland is for a large part underneath the sea level. And this means, of course, there's a big danger for flooding. So that's the first cross. The second cross is fire, because Amsterdam now is all wood, it is all stone, but it used to be a very wooden city, which easily caught fire. So that's the second cross. And then the third one is to the danger of one of the things that was not only a problem for Amsterdam, but for all the big European cities, and that was the plague, the Black Death. So that's the third cross. That's what the 3 crosses are mean. Yeah, the best. So right ahead of you there, you can see the only natural waterway. So that's not man-made, but it's just a natural river. It's the Amstel River. And that's where all the fresh water comes from. So it brings it there and then it goes out to sea on the other end. And then to your left, on the other side of the Amstel River, there you can see a really nice big building coming up. And that's the Amstel Hotel. And this is the second nicest hotel of Amsterdam. The nicest is the Opura Hotel, which is a Japanese-inspired hotel, more in the south of the city. And this Amstel Hotel is a good second. And as you can see, it has sort of an English Victorian architecture. And the famous Dutch architect Oudshoorn, you probably don't know him, he's not that famous, but a bit famous, he built it. And it was actually the first hotel that had electricity. And if you want to stay here tonight, then you should dig deep into your wallet because it costs 2,500 euros a night in the big suite. So has anybody been able to find a good restaurant here in Amsterdam? Are you having trouble with the restaurants or are they okay? No? They're okay? But if you can't find one, you have here below, you have La Rive, which is has 2 Michelin stars. So if you're looking for good food, now you know how where to find it. But again, it's not for everyone, I think. Now right now it's very quiet on the water, but when the summer starts, there's a lot of pleasure boats around here. It's just filled up with boats. A lot of people who don't know how to steer a boat. So it's a very, very hectic. So our captain here has to sort of try to get through. And all these little waterways, you can understand that it's quite a hassle here in the summer. But right in front of you, there's one of the old waterworks. And we have 16 old ones that are still functioning today. 8 new ones. And what they do is they regulate all water coming in and out of Amsterdam. And as you can understand, for a city that's below sea level, it's very, very important that the waterworks are all intact. So these are, you can look up close to them when we cross by. These are the old ones, and then the new ones are a bit further down. So there's 16 of them in total. And then to your right there, do you see the very big building with Carré written on top in red? It has quite a special roof, as you can see, a huge roof. And they had to make Mr. Eiffel come over from Paris, or I don't know if he's from Paris, but he built the Eiffel Tower. And this is what he also built, the tower, to be able to make that roof. And this is the Royal Circus. It's now used as a theater, but it used to be a circus. And when you come inside, it still has a very royal atmosphere, lots of gold and red carpets. Now straight ahead of you, you can see a bridge. It's like one of the most important sites of Amsterdam. You see it on postcards. You often see this bridge, and it's called the Viaje. Anybody want to learn Dutch? Viaje. It's a nice, ugly Dutch word. And what that bridge is, there's a legend around it, because Viaje in Dutch means slim. And legend goes that there were two sisters, the sisters Slim, the sisters Viaje, who lived on either side of the bridge. They were very rich sisters. They had a very nice house on either side. And they were very, very fond of each other. But there used to be no bridge, and they couldn't reach each other. They had to go all the way over there, back across the bridge and go back every time they wanted to have tea. And then they decided, you know what, we're going to build a bridge for ourselves, and then we'll be able to join each other more easily. So that's where we get this bridge from. The other story is that it's just a very slim bridge, and that's why it's called the Slim Bridge. You can make up your mind which one you find more plausible. But at night it lights up with all kinds of little lights. And legend goes that if you're underneath and you kissed your beloved one, which you can do in about 2 seconds, then you'll have a lovely love life for the rest of your life. So go ahead. Couple, sorry. Now on your right hand there, do you see the big square building? And that's the Hermitage. And that sounds, some of you recognize, and it's from the Hermitage Museum in St. Petersburg, the very, very big one. And the Hermitage has a huge art collection, and it decided to lend us some. So there's a changing exhibition every couple of months. Right now it's on the Flemish masters, on Rubens and Van Dyck and Jordaens. It's very, very nice. It's definitely worth your while to go there. And this museum opened in 2010. Before that it was a elderly house, or long before that. So now we're very happy with this big museum. Now on your left hand over there you can see a big facade. It's a gentleman's house there. It's a bit yellowish brick. You see it over there? A beige brick. And there's a very gloomy story around this house. And it used to be owned by a mayor of Amsterdam back in the 17th century. And this poor man had a very unfortunate story, because his wife, she was crazy. And at one point she was crazy up to the point that she cut herself, and then she smeared her bloody hands all over the facade of the house. So the story is, if you get close to the house, you can still see her blood-stained prints on the facade. Now right ahead of you, there's a bridge that you might recognize from another city, in another big European city. Anybody know? This one over here. Does it remind you of anything? Some of you must have seen it on your European trips. Paris. It's Alexander III Bridge, a really large bridge over the Seine. And this is a copy, but then a Dutch small version. Has everything in Dutch is all in the small. Even this bridge, you couldn't quite do it like the French, but it is sort of a copy. Now right ahead you can see a very large modern building. And as you probably noticed, there's not a lot of modern buildings in Amsterdam. So every time they try to put something new up, the population gets very angry. They don't really want it. And this was the new opera house, and all the population had signs saying "Stop the opera! Stop the opera!" And then what they did is they called it the Stopra. So that's what it's called now. It's also the city and the town hall. So you can get married there and then visit the opera later. It's a really good combination. So we're about to dock, and make sure that you check out the biking path that's right in front of you. You probably already get run over a couple of times. Be careful, look to your left and right, because they really do not see you, or don't want to see you. And then the brand store is just in this little street at the end, around the corner. I'll take you there. So there you can exchange your token for a gift. If you want to go back with us, you can. We'll be leaving within 10 minutes, so make sure you're back in time. Anybody want to go back? Yeah? A couple of you? Okay, so we'll wait for you for about 10 minutes max, okay? So make sure you're back in time.